everyone, my name is Patty Barfield and I work at Region 6 in Huntsville, Texas as the English Language Arts and Reading Specialist and Social Studies Specialist. So why I'm making this whole Facebook page is because one of my favorite groups of books every single year are the Bluebonnet books, and I use them as a teacher, I use them as a librarian, and now even at the Region Center I'm still talking to teachers and to kids about these books. And so every day that I can post a new video, I will spotlight one of the 20 Bluebonnet books for you. And I'm hoping with this little group, if you hear of a book that you may think, oh, that sounds pretty good, maybe you'll read it. And teachers, feel free to use these too. Maybe you want to start reading some. The great thing about the Bluebonnet list is that every year it is selected. It is a wide range of books. So you have everything from picture books to pretty high-level chapter books. And these books are for grades 3 through 6. And there's nonfiction, fiction, there's all different kinds of fiction, sci-fi, fantasy, adventure, all kinds of wonderful books. So I would like to spotlight one per video. And if you are at a school and you are in grades 3 through 6 who participates with the Bluebonnet books, then all you have to do is read 5. Just 5 of the 20, and you get to vote for the winner. That's what's so special about this book award. It's not given from adults' point of view. The kids get to pick this award. And so, with that said, I'm actually in my car right now. I drive all over the place to go work with teachers and students today. I am in Hearn ISD and I'm waiting for lunch to be over. A lot of my books I listen to in my car on Audible. And so I hope you get something out of this Facebook group, and I'll see you whenever I spotlight a book. Thanks. Bye. English Language Arts and Reading Specialist for Region 6 and former librarian, former teacher, and I just love to read out loud. So today I'm going to read you one of my all-time favorite books to read out loud, Skippy John Jones by Judy Schaffner. Every morning, Skippy John Jones woke up with the birds. And this did not please his mama at all. "Get yourself down here right now, Mr. Kitten Britches," ordered Mama Junebug Jones. "No self-respecting cat ever slept with a flock of birds," she scolded, "or ate worms, or flew, or did his laundry in Mrs. Doohickeys bird bath." The lecture went on, as usual. "You've got to do some serious thinking before you leave this room, Mr. Fuzzy Pants," said his mother, "about just what it means to be a cat. Not a bird, not a mouse or a grouse, not a moose or a goose, not a rat or a bat. You need to think about what it means to be a Siamese cat. And stay out of your closet," she added, closing the bedroom door. But once he was alone, Skippy John Jones began to bounce and bounce and bounce on his big boy bed. "Oh, I'm Skippy John Jones and I bounce on my bed, and 1 or 6 times I land on my head." On his way down to earth from a gigantic big bounce, Skippy John Jones shot past his bedroom mirror. "Holy guacamole!" exclaimed Skippy John Jones. "What was that?" So up again he went, and again it appeared. Then, using his very best Spanish accent, he said, "My ears are too big for my head. My head is too big for my body. I am not a Siamese cat. I am a Chihuahua." Back on land, Skippy John climbed into his toy box and rifled through some of his old junk. And after he put on his mask and his sword and climbed onto his mouse, Skippy John Jones began to sing in a muy, muy soft voice. "My name is Skepito Fresquito. I fear not a single bandito. My manners are mellow. I'm sweet like the jello. I get the job done, yes indeedo." Back in the kitchen, Jujubee, Jezebel, and Jilliboo Jones were helping Mama Junebug Jones make lunch. "Can Skippy John come out of his room now?" asked Jujubee. "No," answered Mama Junebug Jones. "Mr. Flutterdutter still has some thinking." In fact, Skippy John Jones wasn't thinking at all about being a Siamese cat. With a walk into his closet, his thoughts took him down a long, lonesome desert road, far, far away in old Mexico. And not long into his journey, a misterioso band of Chihuahuas appeared out of the dust. "Ay, caramba! Who goes there?" asked Skippy John Jones. "We go by the name of Los Chimichangos," growled Don Diego, the biggest of the small ones. "Who are you?" "I am El Skipito, the great sword fighter," said Skippy John Jones. Then the smallest of the small ones spoke up. "Why the masquito, dude?" asked Poquito Tito. "I go incognito," said Skipito. "Do you like rice and beans?" asked Pinolito. "See, I love mice and beans," said Skipito. "He might be the dog of our dreams," whispered Rosalita. "Perhaps," said Tia Mia, "if he knows the secret password." Leaning toward Don Diego, El Skipito half sneezed, half spoke the secret password into the Chihuahua's very large ears. Chupichu! "Bless you," said Don Diego. "Gracias," said Skipito. "Then it is true," decreed Don Diego. "Yip, yippee, yippito. It's the end of Alfredo Bazito. Skipito is here, we've nothing to fear. Adios to that bad bumblebeeto." Then all the chimichangos went crazy loco. First they had a fiesta, and then they took a siesta. But after waking up, the chimichangos got down to serious business.
Using his paw, Don Diego drew a picture in the sand of the great Bumblebeeto for Skipito to see. A hush grew over the chimichanga so great that one could hear a whisker drop. Alfredo Pazito, whispered the crowd. El blimpo, Bumblebeeto bendito. See, said Piquito Tito, the bandito steals our frijoles. Not your beans, cried Skipito, outraged. See, Poquito continued, red beans, black beans, Boston baked and blue cocoa, coffee, kidney beans, pinto, and jelly too. And now he comes for us. ¿Por qué? asked Skipito. Because we are full of the beans too. Then Don Diego stood tall, and in his most somber voice he declared, Yo quiero frijoles. Huh? asked Skipito. The dude just wants his beans back, said Poquito Tito, and you are the dog for the job. Me? asked Skipito. Then all the chimichangos turned toward Skipito, the great sword fighter. But poor Skipito had no time for a plan, because in the blink of an eye a gigantic shadow darkened the landscape. The chimichangos scattered in all directions. Vámonos, Skipito, or it is you, the bandito, Willito, they cried. Skipito stood his ground, but his legs shimmied and shook like the jello, and his teeth, they chattered like the castanets, and in a muy soft voice he said, My name is Skipito Fresquito. I fear not a single bandito. But Alfredo Bazito flew straight for Skipito until the bead-eating bandito just hovered only inches away from the great sword fighter's face. Holy frijoles! cried Skipito, and he thrust his sword up into the air. And suddenly, pop! went the bandito, landing on Skipito's sword, and quicker than you could say Chihuahua's cheese and crackers, every kind of bean came spilling out of Alfredo Bazito, the Bumblebeeto bandito. Then all the doggies burst into song. Yip, yippee, yippito. Our hero is El Skipito. He's the dog of our dreams who delivered the beans, and now we can make our burritos. But back at home, there was such a ruckus coming from Skippy John's room that Mama Junebug Jones and the girls just had to find out what was going on. They raced down the hall to the kitty boy's room. Banguito, Crashito, Papito, Skipito! Just in time to see Skippy John's closet exploding. Then out flew Candy, beanbag doggies, and the kitty boy with his birthday piñata on his head. Skippy John Jones, everyone cried. Hola, muchachitas, he said in a muy soft voice. Mama Junebug Jones lifted up Skippy John Jones and covered his head with furry purry kisses. What am I going to do with you, Mr. Cocoa Pugs? She scolded. That night, when he was supposed to be going to sleep, Skippy John began to bounce and bounce on his big boy bed. Oh, I'm Skippy John Jones with a mind of my own, and I bounce on my bed for hours. I know I'm a cat, but I forget that. Say good night, Skippy John Jones, called his mama. Buenos noches, mis amigos, said Skippy John Jones. I know a lot of you are going through a really hard time right now, and my thoughts and prayers are with you all. And even if you don't have much, even if you don't have your favorite toy, you still have your imagination. And so I'm praying for all of you that you will get through this with a good spirit. Bye.
Hello, it's Patty Barfield, and I finished this book this morning, listening to it on Audible as I was driving into work. It is incredible, and it's not one that I thought, oh, I've got to read this book. So I read it because it was on the Bluebonnet list, and I'm so glad I did. This book is called Some Kind of Courage, and it's by Dan Gemenhart, who also wrote The Honest Truth. And on the back it says, saddle up for a life-defining, death-defying adventure. And man, does this book deliver. I want to show you just a little bit. I'm just going to read a little bit of chapter 1. Chapter 1, it's October 1890, set in Old Mission, Washington. Just a little bit. I reckon it was the coldest, darkest hour of the night. That still hour just before dawn. Mama always called it the angels and devils hour on account of how many only angels or demons would have any work worth doing at a time like that. Well, I didn't know if I was doing the Lord's work or the devil's, but I knew that it had to be done, and the time had sure enough come to do it. I'd been lying too many sleepless hours in my sorry, straw-stuffed bed, waiting for the old man to finally fall dead asleep. My plan had been burning all night in my mind like the last glowing embers in the fireplace, keeping my heart awake. The truth be told, my hands were a bit shaky as I finally crept, as quiet as could be, across the cabin's dirt floor toward where he lay snoring. And it weren't just the cold making him shake, neither, but my heart was as steady as a true horse heading toward home. My leather bag was already thrown over my shoulder. I'd slipped it on without him seeing before I had curled up under my blanket, and my boots were still on my feet. He had been too drunk to take notice of them, me not taking them off. All I needed was the money and the gun, and then to hit the trail running. The money was piled on a shelf on the wall by his bed. I licked my lips and crept closer, my feet finding a path in the barely lit darkness. I could see the barrel of the pistol gleaming in the dim red light of the coals on the crate beneath the shelf. It was right within the reach of the arm the old man had thrown across his face. Barely breathing, I took the last few steps and reached up with my left hand. My fingers closed around the crumpled stack of dirty greenbacks, and with a smooth and silent motion, I slipped them off the shelf. It ain't stealing, I told myself. This money belongs to me by my all rights. I ain't sure I convinced myself, and doubt chewed on my insides. But there weren't no choice. I crouched and turned toward the pistol. But as I did, my foot kicked an empty booze bottle. It spun in the shadows and rattled against another one with a loud clink that shattered the quiet of the cabin. The old man's snoring stopped in mid-breath with a snort. His arm jerked up from his face, and two red eyes glared at me, confused and already angry. They narrowed when they saw the money clutched in my hand, and his top lip pulled back in a snarl. "What are you doing, boy?" he asked in his high, pierced whine of a voice. Lord, how I had come to hate that voice. I froze, too scared to answer. He blinked, his drunken brain no doubt starting to make sense of what was happening. He started to sit up, then stopped. We both looked at that gun at the same time. There was one tight, breathless moment where we both knew what we were about to do. Our bodies lunged and our hands struck like snakes. He was closer, but I was quicker. And when I stumbled back 2 steps, the gun was gripped tight in my right hand. It was his turn to freeze, and he did. "What are you doing, boy?" he asked again. Now his voice was sure enough had a nervous tremble in it. "You had no right to sell her," I said, and I was ashamed of how my voice quivered, not at all like a man's, not at all like my papa's. The old man grimaced like he had taken a suck on a fresh lemon. "Course I did, boy. She was mine, and I need that money to pay for all the food you eat." My underfed belly grumbled at the truth to his lie, and I shook my head. "No, sir, I worked for my keep, and I worked hard, and that horse was mine. You got this money by selling my horse, so it's my money, and I'm going to use it to get her back. And you wouldn't use the money for food, neither, but for more bottles of Dutch John's brandy, I wanted to say. But my mama,
she had taught me better manners than that. So I held my tongue. Now this book, I thought of my boys and my kiddos throughout the years who always chose Old Yeller in literature group circles. This book is incredible. It has so many of the same themes and how animals can mean so much to us. So this is the story of young Joseph as he treks across Washington in search of his horse that he wants to get back. So I hope it might be a book you want to pick up, because I sure am glad I did. See you next time. It's Patty Barfield, and I'm coming to you from home today, and I've got to share this book, The Girl Who Drank the Moon by Kelly Barnhill. And this is on the Texas Bluebonnet list this year, but this book also won the Newbery Award for this year. It is a beautiful book. And the main character, her name is Luna, and I think my favorite character here is Therian. He's just simply an enormous dragon. So I'm going to read to you a tiny bit of this book, and I have to kind of hold with one hand. The Girl Who Drank the Moon. And every chapter starts with in which. So chapter 1 is called In Which a Story is Told. Yes, there is a witch in the woods. There has always been a witch. Will you stop fidgeting for once? My stars! I have never seen such a fidgety child. No, sweetheart, I have not seen her. No one has. Not for ages. We've taken steps so that we will never see her. Terrible steps. Don't make me say it. You already know anyway. Oh, I don't know, darling. No one knows why she wants children. We don't know why she insists that it must always be the very youngest among us. It's not as though we could just ask her. She has not been seen. We make sure she will never be seen. Oh, of course she exists. What a question. Look at the woods. So dangerous. Poisonous snakes, sinkholes, and boiling geysers and terrible dangers every which way. Do you think it is by an accident? Rubbish! It was the witch, and if we don't do as she says, what will become of us? You really need me to explain it? I would rather not. Oh, hush now, don't cry. It's not as though the council of elders is coming for you now, is it? You're far too old. From our family? Yes, dearest. Ever so long ago, before you were born. Oh, he was a beautiful boy. Now finish your supper and see to your chores. We'll all be up early tomorrow. The day of sacrifice waits for no one. And we must all be present to thank the child who will save us for one more year. Your brother? How could I fight for him? If I had, the witch would have killed us all. And then, where would we be? Sacrifice one or sacrifice all. That is the way of the world. We couldn't change it if we tried. Enough questions. Off with you, fool child. Chapter 2 is called In Which an Unfortunate Woman Goes Quite Mad. So this book tells the story of what happens to those children that go out into the woods. And here's just a little bit. It's not what you might think. So this book is a phenomenal story. It is an incredible tale. Lots of characters to keep up with, but they each have their own different personalities, so it's pretty easy to do. So hopefully you will read The Girl Who Drank the Moon. I promise you will not regret it. See you later. Patty Barfield, and I want to talk to you about another book that is on the Bluebonnet list this year called The Magnificent Maya Tibbs, Spirit Week Showdown by Crystal Allen. Now, Maya Tibbs is a 9-year-old girl who has had her best friend, Naomi, for about a month. And Spirit Week is right around the corner, and they're making great plans on what they're going to do as partners to win Spirit Week, because the winner gets a super, super cool prize. But on the day that they get to select their Spirit Week partners, they draw names, and she does not get partnered with her best friend. She gets partnered with a bully. And so the story goes on and talks about how you handle situations like that. It really has some fantastic life lessons on what do you do when your friends aren't really acting like your friends, and you're with someone you didn't think you liked, but could that change? And so The Magnificent Maya Tibbs is a great story. I'm going to read to you just a snippet of Magnificent Maya Tibbs. I got to meet Crystal Allen, the author of this book, when I went to the TLA conference this past April, and I just loved her. I just was like, oh, I just want to sit and visit with you. You're hysterical. And as I was reading the book, I was like, I see a lot of Crystal Allen in Maya. They're both funny and full of life and super great people to be around. Chapter 1. I'm only wearing 5 braids to school today. I usually wear 9 because that's how old I am. But this week, I'm counting down the days to Spirit Week using my hair as a calendar. On Tuesday, I had 7 braids, and yesterday, 6. When I get to 1, it'll be time for Spirit Week. I push both feet into my cowgirl boots without sitting down, just like I've seen real cowgirls do. Then I decorate my wrist with my yellow bracelet I made last night. My posters of Annie Oakley and Cowgirl Claire seem to root for me as I clunk around in my boots, pretending to lasso the cows and the horses that Dad painted on my walls. One day, I'll be on a poster too, as the first jewelry-making, calf-roping cowgirl from Bluebonnet, Texas. Dad even put different words to that song. She'll be coming around the mountain when she comes, just for me. I grab my imaginary microphone and I sing as if I'm in a concert. She'll be roping all the cattle when she comes, ruby gems and yellow diamonds on her thumbs. Maya Tibbs is such a winner because winning is what's in her. She'll be roping all the cattle when she comes. So Maya is all kinds of fun, fabulous jewelry making, calf roping, rodeo girl. And if you want to find out what happens to her during Spirit Week, I hope you pick up this book. It's a great read. See y'all next time. and I got my first quiz at the end of the month. I never got quizzes when Mom homeschooled me. I also didn't like how I had no free time anymore. Before, I was able to play whenever I wanted to, but now it felt like I always had stuff to do for school. And being at school was awful in the beginning. Every new class I had was like a new chance for kids to not stare at me. They would sneak peeks at me from behind their books, their notebooks, or when they thought I wasn't looking. They would take the longest way around me to avoid bumping into me in any way. Like I had some germ that they could catch. Like my face was contagious. In the hallways, which were always crowded, my face would always surprise some unsuspecting kid who maybe hadn't heard about me. The kid would make a sound you make when you hold your breath before going underwater, like a little sound. This happened maybe 4 or 5 times a day, the first few weeks. On the stairs, in the front of the lockers, in the library. 500 kids in a school. Eventually, every one of them was going to see my face at some time. And I knew after the first couple of days, the word had gotten around about me because every once in a while I'd catch a kid elbowing his friend as they passed me or talking behind their hands as I walked by them. I can only imagine what they were saying about me. Actually, I prefer not even to imagine it. I'm not saying they were doing any of these things in a mean way, by the way. Not once did any kid laugh or make noises or do anything like that. They were just being normal, dumb kids. I know that. I kind of wanted to tell them that, like, it's okay. I know, I'm weird looking. Take a look. I don't bite. Hey, the truth is, if a Wookiee started going to the school all of a sudden, I'd be curious. And I'd probably stare a bit. And if I was walking with Jack or Summer, I'd probably whisper to them, hey, there's the Wookiee. And if the Wookiee caught me saying that, he'd know I wasn't trying to be mean. I was just pointing out the fact. He's a Wookiee. It took about 1 week for the kids in my class to get used to my face. These were the kids I'd see every day in all my classes. It took about 2 weeks for the rest of the kids in my grade to get used to my face.